Dear students, welcome to T for Tuition online classes for Social Science Class 10. I am Bhanumati. In today's demo video, we would deal with an interesting and important chapter in democratic politics, Chapter 1, Power Sharing. Before we begin with this lesson, let me ask you a quick question. Do you know why we study democratic politics? Have you ever wondered if there are any benefits in studying civics, otherwise democratic politics? If yes, then here's why. We study democratic politics because this subject empowers us to be well-informed, active citizens and gives us the opportunity to change the world around us. It is a vital part of any democracy and equips ordinary people with knowledge about our democracy and our constitution. And history provides us with a knowledge about how people lived in the past, equips us to deal with the problems of the present and solve the problems of future. Mostly prevent such occurrences of problems in the past. You must have heard about the saying, history repeats itself. True to that, many of the causes of World War I were similar to the causes of World War II. If the patterns that led to World War I were to be studied carefully, World War II could have been prevented easily. So learning about democracy and power sharing and how the idea of power sharing has shaped the government and destiny of people across the world becomes vital for us to manage our lives and know our opportunities and duties as a citizen so that we could rule our country efficiently, if not at least be informed citizens. So that is the reason we study democratic politics, and let's venture into this interesting lesson, Power Sharing, Chapter 1. So now sharing of power among legislature, executive and judiciary is important to the effective functioning of a democratic government. Let's explore the case studies of Sri Lanka and Belgium to understand these concepts. In slide 1, I've given you the flags of Sri Lanka and Belgium for you to relate the countries with their flags. Alright, let's know about this particular country, Belgium. It's a very, very interesting country. The reason because it's a small country. It has its borders with France, Germany, Netherlands and Luxembourg. The size is so small, smaller than most other Indian states. And the population is little over 1 crore and 59% live in the Flemish region and speak Dutch language. Another 40% people live in the Wallonia region and speak French. The remaining 1% of Belgians speak German. However, the situation is so different in the capital city of Brussels in Belgium, where 80% people speak French while 20% people are Dutch speaking. And I provided the map of Belgium, which has shaded areas of communities and regions of Belgium. Alright, you have the Dutch speaking people, the German as well as the French speaking people in different shades available in the map to provide a clarity of understanding the different communities that live in Belgium. Alright. Unlike India, there are these 3 major languages that are spoken across Belgium, and the most important significant fact that we need to remember is that the Dutch speaking people are more in number across Belgium. However, there is a contrasting situation in the capital city of Brussels where French speaking people community dominate the Dutch speaking people in terms of having a large number. 80% of Brussels population, the capital city of Belgium, speak French. Alright. So now let's look at this interesting complexity in Belgium in detail. The minority French-speaking population, however, became more powerful and richer than the Dutch-speaking population. All right. This led to, obviously, right? So when the minorities are have enjoy more privileges, have a larger privileged life, obviously the majority is going to be irritated and annoyed with this sort of a situation. So that led to jealousy, unpleasantness, and clashes between the communities, the Dutch speaking and the French speaking people in Belgium between the 1950s and 1960s. Brussels, the capital city's problem, was even more complicated as the French speaking population constituted a majority over there. Like I told you, 80%. Alright, now let's look at Sri Lanka. The problems in Sri Lanka. Now you know very well Sri Lanka is an island nation located in the southernmost part of India. All right, it's just away the southernmost part of India. It is located in the Indian Ocean and it is just off the coast of Tamil Nadu. The size is almost similar to that of Haryana. If I made a mistake, let me be very clear. Sri Lanka is an island nation which is located in the Indian Ocean to the south of India, just off the coast of Tamil Nadu. The size is similar to that of Haryana, the state Haryana. The population is approximately 2 crores. It constitutes two major groups of people, the Sinhalese speaking people, out of which 74% of them majority of them are Buddhists. And then you have the second major category, the Tamils, out of which 18% of them are Hindus and rest 7% are Christians. Alright, so 74 plus 25. The 74% of the population are Sinhalese Buddhists, 18% of the population are Tamils, Hindus, and 7% of the population are Christians, Tamils, and Sinhalese. Tamils are further divided into Sri Lankan Tamils, 13%, and the rest being Indian Tamils. Those Tamils who emigrated from India during colonial times as plantation workers. Well, the problems in Sri Lanka. The problems in Sri Lanka is majoritarianism. So what happened when the Sinhalese population outgrew the Tamils population? They started dominating and a law was passed in Sri Lanka in 1956 that made Sinhala the only official language of the country. Universities started preference to Sinhalese speaking people. Sinhalese became a preferential qualification for obtaining jobs which deprived the Tamil speaking people. More laws were passed to foster and protect Buddhism. Tamil people felt they were not getting enough representation in the parliament and in the process of introducing new laws. They started feeling alienated and agitation increased among these people. During the 1970s and 80s, groups representing Tamils started demanding their own country and they called it Tamil Eram to the north and eastern parts of the Sri Lankan island as they were concentrated there. This eventually led to civil war which took a huge toll on the economy and peace of the country. The accommodation in Belgium. Belgian leaders took a different approach. We discussed the complexities of Belgium, you remember? So they took a different approach. The constitution got amended 4 times between 1970 and 1993 to favor all ethnic groups. The number of French and Dutch people had to be equal in the central government. Central government was the national government. Alright? The support needed from leaders of all ethnic groups to make amends, which means changes, to pass special laws so that no singular community could make or change the laws affecting the entire country. Many powers were delegated to state governments and they were not subordinate to the central government. Alright, they had their own power. They were free. Now, the most interesting part was that Brussels had a separate government within the government of Belgium. it had an equal representation of French and Dutch-speaking people. The third government, apart from the central and the state government, apart from the Brussels government, was formed, and this was called the community government. And this government was elected by people from one language speaking community, one from each language speaking community. And this government had the power to take decisions on language, culture, and education related issues. So all these changes in government and their approach towards giving equal rights and opportunities to all sections of the community solved the problem in Belgium. So far, there had been no strife in Belgium, and people there are living peacefully. The most interesting part is that the European Union Parliament is located in Brussels. This is an acknowledgement to the fact that Brussels and Belgium had been living in peace, and their approach towards governance had been a great success, unlike Sri Lanka. Though Sri Lanka's economy was considerably fair and it had been doing really well till the 1970s, because of the civil war and clashes between the communities of Sinhala and Tamils, there had been devastation, catastrophe, and people's lives were taken. Like thousands of people were killed, and there were these air clashes, air strikes, and bombs and firing, and people there. All these things got settled only in the year 2009. So the approach towards governance makes a huge difference, a tremendous difference, contributing to the larger good, to the larger welfare of people's economy, and harmony in the community. So this is the analysis of Belgium and Sri Lanka, my dear students. So we know how power is to be shared. Though power sharing, many people assume that power sharing means dividing, which means weakening the democracy. It actually is the opposite. When power is shared, people gain more trust. More power shared equals more trust gained from different sections, different fragments of the society. When trust builds, the governance becomes smooth, operation becomes efficient. So this is the success story of Belgium and the case study analysis of Sri Lanka. All right. So we'll wind up with that. We'll deal with the lessons, the important questions, exam related questions, those questions which are often asked from this chapter during board exam papers, from the past papers, during the actual class. I suggest all of you sign up, register for your tuitions, for your social sciences,